Election time, baby. Today is a big election, maybe not for the state you're in, but for New Jersey, New York, California, and Virginia. There's a lot of movement. Here we have what could be a very good little blue wave happening. The numbers are coming in and the projections for who's going to win these races. Let's have a listen.
Donald Trump and Democrats are on the precipice of delivering a huge blow to Donald Trump in his second term. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we just look? Democrats lead all the key races. You go to New Jersey governor. That's really the only close one. Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat, up by 6 points. Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, up by 10. Zohran Mamdani, up by 16 points in New York City. The bottom line is this. Yes, there are ideological differences between the Democrats, but the key common component is they are all going after Donald Trump. And all the Democrats lead from New Jersey to Virginia to New York City. They all lead the Republican and independent opponents.
This is pretty wild stuff. And again, we'll have reporting in the morning on what this actually means. If I don't have all of the updates for the morning episode, I'll definitely have them for the afternoon. Again, it really comes down to how big of a margin there is in victory. When it comes to Mamdani running as the Democrat in New York for mayor, he's running against Cuomo. Cuomo's running as an independent because he lost the primary to Mamdani. And then you've got the Republican candidate. So the question isn't at this point whether Mamdani wins. It might be by how much. Does he get over 50% of the vote? Because if he does that, he can then, of course, claim it's an even greater mandate to kind of try what he wants to try, which is taxing the ultra wealthy to a point where there's free public buses. And I like the idea of free public buses because you have to imagine you're walking around New York City. You know, sometimes you just want to jump on a bus and run up 20 blocks versus walking. It's a little different sort of ecosystem than the subway. And anyhow, there's different policy plans in place that are to make New York City more affordable. And again, because this is what it comes down to, right? Trump posted the refurbished Lincoln Ballroom in the White House, highly polished, statuary marble. And this is insane, right? This is insane to show the decadence of what's going on at the White House, the $300 million ballroom, the Great Gatsby-style party for Halloween at Mar-a-Lago. Meanwhile, Rep. Jim McGovern says people can't pay their bills. No one gives a flying F what your bathroom looks like. And that's how the Americans feel about this, a revolution about to happen. Now, it was a dark morning. If you're a Dick Cheney fan, I know there aren't many of them. Former vice president dead at 84. Again, Dick Cheney's been accused of, pretty much sending our country into a war. He was kind of accused of being the puppet behind George W. Bush. Again, he had, made money through government contracts, working for military companies. It was shady as hell. And yet, here's the response from Crystal Ball. She's on my favorite show, Breaking Points. They have a Republican and a Democrat conversation where they can sort of, talk about things from both sides of the aisle. Here's her emotional response to finding out Dick Cheney has passed.
Dick Cheney is dead at age, 83?
84.
84.
Yeah. So
that's about all we have to say about that.
Yeah. They say if you have nothing nice to say, then just don't say anything at all.
So there's their response. And here's another interesting one. Here's Zohran Mamdani reacting to the death of former Vice President Dick Cheney. Have a listen to this one.
When did that happen? Just earlier this morning.
Jeez. He goes, when did that happen this morning? And he goes, okay, back to ordering my, ham and cheese from the bodega or whatever he's doing. He's at some polling station. So, yeah, I mean, look, you don't want to cheer people's death, but it's just, it really kind of is very significant, honestly, metaphorically, if you look at the end of an era, the end of a government that doesn't work for its people, right? We get into these endless wars. We spend billions of dollars in tax money, really, for our own military to put ourselves on the line. And for who? The only people that make money are the weapons manufacturers and things like that. So either way, it's very interesting and symbolic that his death comes upon the day of elections for what could be the beginning of a change towards a movement of bringing power back to the people, back to the middle class, and whatnot. So here's Trump's response to Zohran Mamdani as the heavily favorited winner of the mayoral race in New York City. He's got a 91% odds of winning. Here's what President Trump had to say. Again, whether this helps Anthony Cuomo or not, it looks like this actually might be a good endorsement for Zohran. If communist candidate Zohran Mamdani wins the election for mayor of New York City, it is highly unlikely that I will be contributing federal funds other than the very minimum of required to my beloved first home because of the fact that as a communist, this once great city has zero chance of success or even survival. It can only get worse with a communist at the helm, and I don't want to send as president good money after bad. It is my obligation to run the nation, and it is my strong conviction that New York City will be a complete and total economic and social disaster should Mamdani win. Now, Mamdani is a social democrat. He believes in, a form of democracy that works for the middle class by taxing the ultra wealthy and getting rid of, that sort of wage gap that exists. It hasn't been this great since the Gilded Age, when there was ultra wealthy and ultra poor people. You can't afford to live in the city for less than a very high pay. Really, you go broke over there. I know. I visit. It's $500 a night to stay at a hotel. The housing costs are crazy, and Zohran Mamdani is really running just on an affordability level. And I think it's a very interesting indicator for other races that are yet to come. That if you run on helping out the middle class, fighting for things like Medicare for all, and in the case of Zohran, fighting for free buses and child care for people that need to go to work, that you have a good chance. Fighting for the economy. You need to be economy first. I actually talked about this on my Instagram today. You can go give me a follow if you haven't already here at D Niels on Instagram. My 2026 healthcare is set to cost $45,000. My total max out of pocket. That's going up from $1,500 a month up into, I think, from $1,500 a month to $2,182 a month from me, my wife, and my baby, along with all of the other costs that come in, copays and things like this. For those of you that don't live in the United States of America, you can't even fathom or believe the crisis that we're in. So many people are going to opt to just not get healthcare and say, and I've thought of this. I go, you know what? Rather than pay that $45,000 a year, shouldn't I just put it into like a stock market or high yield savings? And really, it's there for catastrophic damage, in the case where you got to go to the hospital for several weeks or deal with some sort of surgery. And unfortunately, we live in such a broken system that it's either no health care or go broke. So I'm going to spend an extra $7,000 this year, and that's a choice I'm going to have to make with my family, and so many people are in even worse positions than that. By the way, I was mentioning Dick Cheney earlier. Here he was back in 2022 trying to redeem himself. How about this?
Our nation's 246-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump. He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power after the voters had rejected him. He is a coward. A real man wouldn't lie to his supporters.
All right, so either way, maybe Dick Cheney was able to redeem himself before his death. Who knows? Updates on the SNAP benefits. Here is former Celtics coach and coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, Doc Rivers, discussing food stamp cuts.
Hey, I don't want to get political, but I am. And this one is not political. It's the SNAP programs around the country, and especially in Wisconsin, because that's where I'm at right now, are going to get delayed. And this is for Republicans and Democrats. We're talking about kids not getting food, and that should never happen. I don't want to hear about people who are cheating the program and all that crap. A 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid is cheating nothing.
Yeah, and look, and if people are on the program and if they even were cheating it and getting an extra free couple meals a week, it's like, who the hell cares? Even though that's not the issue at hand. So here we have Donald Trump confirming that he is weaponizing hunger. SNAP benefits, which increased by billions and billions of dollars, manyfold during crooked Joe Biden's disastrous term in office, due to the fact that they were haphazardly handed to anyone for the asking, as opposed to just those in need, which is the purpose of SNAP, will be, boy, what a run-on sentence, will be given only when the radical left Democrats open up government, which they can easily do and not before. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Now, polling indicates more people are blaming the Republicans than the Democrats about this, which I think is a good thing, because you have to understand the SNAP benefits don't have to be delayed, right? The money is there, a judge has ruled, and they're going going against the judge's ruling to release those funds. So these debit cards can get funded so people can be fed. This is terrible, right? Trump is willing to spend $1 billion on the new jet upgrades. He's willing to spend $40 billion on Argentina, giving money to them. He's willing to, weaponize the National Guard, which costs a hell of a lot of money, sending them into D.C. so that they can pick up trash. He's doing all of these different things, and all of the money, the $50,000 signing bonuses to ICE, all these other things that he's done. And somehow, when it comes to just feeding the hungry, he's not about that. And of course, no one's been a bigger welfare queen than folks like Elon Musk, receiving billions and billions in subsidies and all the other tax breaks to the ultra wealthy. His $300 billion ballroom that's being built, what is it? Whatever, it's million. That ballroom is being funded by corporations that clearly don't pay enough in taxes. If you have so much money that you can just throw it at a ballroom, I kind of feel like you need to be taxed a little bit more. That's my thought. Okay, who's gonna stand up for Google at a time like this? What else can we say about that? Well, here's Elon Musk. He's already questioning the integrity of the elections. As we showed, Zohran Mamdani has a 92%, I believe, chance of winning, and it might even be higher than that, this election today. With that, as I showed, all the polls show he has a gigantic lead. And yet, Elon Musk says the New York City ballot form is a scam. No ID is required. Other mayoral candidates appear twice. Cuomo's name is last in the bottom right. And again, people had to remind Elon Musk that for Donald Trump's election, he also appeared twice as a Republican and conservative. I don't know how they do it, but maybe they tabulate both votes, things like that. There's different political parties. Every city and state runs their elections differently. It's actually a good thing it works that way. That way, it's a little harder to cheat and rig things. But this is the issue we live in. Trump wants to tariff every country until people start bending the knee, and then he carves out specific deals depending on how nice of a gift you gave him. And here's a good example. Healthcare, but only for my friends. This guy, Scott Adams, says, on Monday, I will ask President Trump to help save my life. He offered to help me if I needed it. I need it. As you know, I have metastasized prostate cancer. My healthcare provider, Kaiser of Northern California, approved my application, blah, blah, blah. RFK Jr. says, Scott, how do I reach you? The president wants to help. This is the problem. Anecdotally, you see companies begging for tariff relief, people begging for health care. We need systems in place that don't make it so that you need your tweet to go viral in order to receive help. If we had a universal system that we all paid into, if you had an issue, you would just go to the doctor. How many issues and preventable illnesses would we be able to fix, solve, or help if we didn't wait till we had something bulging out of our neck before we received emergency care? This is the problem in our country. Other places, they go, I got really sick. I went to the doctor, stayed there for 3 weeks. My bill was $43. I got free Jell-O or whatever. You see this in Canada. You give birth. Here, it is a wretched system if you do not have the funds to afford it. And I'm putting myself and my podcast on the line to continue to fight to fix these things. What people have to understand is, for a revolution to happen, collectively, we all need to quote unquote go viral, right? You see something go viral online, a cultural moment, everyone knows about it. What if Mr. Beast started to talk about universal healthcare, right? He's so busy, and God bless him, he's so busy wanting to heal the blind and fix the deaf and do all these different things with the money he's made from YouTube. How many lives could be saved? Imagine a Mr. Beast title. We provided universal healthcare for Americans, preventing 60,000 unneeded and unnecessary deaths per year. Wow, how about that? We can make that happen. We can vote for that to happen. The bill is there. What we need is to only vote for people that really believe in universal health care, that are going to go fight for it in the Senate, in the House of Representatives. Vote for a president who's going to pass that bill. It is there. It is ready. And every other system has failed us. We'll be back in the morning. Share this podcast with friends if you think we have a good message. And we'll see you then. A lot to get into. It's going to be a wild week. Until then, I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.